Hi everyone! Welcome to our learning activity video on Mathbox for senior high school, and we are now on Quarter 1, Week 7C. And still we have the same learning objective starting from Week 7A and B. And let me read. The learner solves problems involving exponential functions, equations, and inequalities. Let's start. Exercises number 1. Direction: solve the following problems. Write your solutions in your answer sheet. Number 1 problem. Mr. 𝗪𝗲𝗏 invested 300,000 pesos for 10 years at 3.5% compounded annually. How much will Mr. 𝗪𝗲𝗏 have in his account after 10 years? Solution. We have here the principal amount, the given 300,000 pesos, and the rate R equals 3.5%, converted to decimal 0.035, and T equals 10 years. And we are to substitute this formula to A equals capital P times quantity 1 plus R raised to T. So plugging in the values, we have 300,000 plus 1 plus the rate, raise it to T. So we have 423,179 pesos and 63 centavos. Hence, this is the amount that Mr. 𝗪𝗲𝗏 will have in his account after 10 years. Moving on to number 2, 𝗪𝗲𝗶𝗶 deposits 50,000 in a bank which earns her an interest of 4% compounded annually. What is the amount she gets after 3 years? And at what rate will she invest her money to get 64,000 pesos after 5 years? Solution. We are given P, the principal amount of 50,000 pesos. The rate is 4%. Converted to decimal, it's 0.04. And T equals 3 years. We are to substitute this value or these given values to the formula. Capital A equals capital P, the principal amount, times 1 plus R raised to T. So this is A is the total money invested after T years. So we have the value A equals 50,000 times 1.034 raised to 3 is 56,243 pesos and 20 centavos. Hence, this 56,243 pesos and 20 centavos is the amount 𝗪𝗏𝗶𝗏 will get after 3 years. For letter B, at what rate will she invest her money to get 64,000 pesos after 5 years? So since we're given the P, principal amount is 50,000, and the actual or the total amount after 5 years is 64,000, and of course T equals 5 years, we are to get the value of R or the interest rate. So again, these are the given. So we have this formula A equals P, the principal times quantity 1 plus R raised to T. So we are to substitute the value for A, 64,000 pesos, for P, 50,000 pesos, and for T, which is 5 years. And we are to solve for R. So we have here, divide both sides by 50,000 pesos. So we have here 64,000 over 50,000, then equals 1 plus R raised to 5. Then taking the fifth root of both sides, but we have to simplify this. So it's 32 over 25, taking the fifth root of that, and this is also the fifth root of the right hand side here. So this becomes now 1 plus R equals the fifth root of 32 over 25, and 1 plus R equals 32 is the perfect fifth raised to fifth powers. So we have here 2, and we have fifth root of 25. Then R here equals, we copy this one, we minus 1, and finally we have 5.06% or simply 5%. Hence, at the rate of 5%, 𝗪𝗲𝗍𝒑 should invest her money to get 64,000 pesos after 5 years. Exercises number 2. Solve the following problems. Write your solutions in your answer sheet. Number 1. You decided to put 20,000 pesos into a bank account. You are told you will get an annual interest rate of 2.5% compounded monthly. How much money will you get after 5 years? For the solution, since the amount invested is compounded monthly at 2.5%, then n is 12. N is the number of times of compounding. So t is 10 years and r is 2.5% or equivalent to 0.025. Substituting these given values into the formula A equals P times quantity 1 plus R over N close quantity raised to N times T. Substituting, we have 20,000 times 1 plus 0.025 all over N, which is 12, raised to N, which is 12, and T is 10. So we get 25,673 pesos and 83 centavos. Hence, there will be 25,673 pesos and 83 centavos after 10 years. Number 2, 50,000 pesos is deposited in an account that pays 4% interests. Find the account balance after 6 years if the interest is compounded A, semi-annually, meaning that is twice a year, and B, compounded quarterly. Solution for letter A, the principal amount is given to be 50,000 pesos and the compounding period is semi-annually, so N is 2 and at 4% R is 0.4 and 6 years for T. Substituting these values to this equation, we have 50,000 for P, then 1 plus the R is 0.04 all over 2 for N. N is 2 times T is 6, so we get 63,412 pesos and 9 centavos. Hence, the account balance after 6 years compounded twice a year is 63,412 pesos and 9 centavos. For letter B, we are to get the amount if this principal amount 50,000 is compounded quarterly. In this case, we have the same principal amount, we have the same T, 6 years, we have the same R, 4%, but the period of compounding in 1 year is 4 because in 1 year there are 4 quarters. Okay, substituting these values to the given formula A equals P times quantity 1 plus R over N, raise it to N times T. We have A equals 50,000 times quantity 1 plus 0.04 all over 4 for N. Raise it to N equals 4 and T equals 6, so we get 63,486 pesos and 73 centavos. Hence, the account balance after 6 years, compounded quarterly, is 63,486 pesos and 73 centavos. Enrichment activity. Direction: solve the following problems. Write your solutions in your answer sheet. Number 1. If 30,000 pesos is placed in an account at 5% and is compounded quarterly, how much is in the account at the end of 2 years? Solution: principal amount is 30,000, compounded quarterly, that means N equals 4, T is 2 years, and 5% equals R equals 0.05. Substituting these given values into the formula, we have A equals P times quantity 1 plus R over N raised it to NT. A therefore is 33,134 pesos and 58 centavos. Hence, the account balance after 2 years compounded quarterly is 33,134 pesos and 58 centavos. For number 2, what principal you have to deposit in a 3.5% savings account compounded monthly in order to have a total of 200,000 pesos after 4 years. Since the total amount after 4 years is 200,000 pesos and is compounded monthly at 3.5%, then N is 12. There are 12 months in a year. And R is 0.035 with a given T 4 years. So we have to substitute this to the formula. A equals P times open quantity 1 plus R over N close quantity raised to NT. That's 200,000 for A. For P, this is what we're looking for. Then 1 plus for R 0.035. N is 12. Close quantity, raise it to 12 times 4 years. Solving for P, by mathematically manipulating this, we have 173,907 pesos and 8 centavos. This will be the principal amount you are to invest to get 200,000 at the end of 4 years with this given compounding period. In a year, there are 12 compounding period, and for the rate we have 3.5%. Hence, 173,907 pesos and 8 centavos is the principal amount compounded monthly at 3.5% with a total amount of 200,000 pesos after 4 years. For number 3, Paulo divided 100,000 pesos and invested into 2 bank accounts. One bank offers 10% interests compounded annually, while the other gives 8% interest compounded semi-annually. How much did he invest in each bank if his total savings after 5 years is 157,143 pesos? Well, solution, let X be Paulo's investment in the first bank with R sub 1 equals 10% compounded annually. Let's call N sub 1, 1. There is only one compounding period in 1 year, so it's N equals 1. And let 100,000, the total amount of investment, minus X be Paulo's investment in the second bank with R2, R sub 2 equals 8% compounded semi-annually, in this case, twice a year, so N sub 2 equals 2. And A is given to be the 157,143 pesos. This is the total savings after 5 years of Paulo. Substituting these given values into the formula, we have here the formula, so we have the principal amount which we do not know on the first bank. So, quantity 1 plus R sub 1 over N sub 1, raise it to N sub 1 times T, plus the amount invested in the second bank, 100,000 minus X times open quantity 1 plus R sub 2 over N sub 2 close quantity, raise it to N sub 2 times T, that is equal to A. And we have A is given to be 157,143 pesos. So we have, for the first bank, we have 10%. Compounding period is yearly or annually. So we have N equals 1 times, raise it to N times 5. So plus 100,000 minus X, open quantity 1 plus 8% over compounding period 2, then 2 times 5. So it equals this one. Next is we are to solve for x. So we have here, just follow in this video. You can pause the video if you want. I will not discuss anymore, but I will discuss the value of x because we are interested in the value of x. Again, x is the principal amount invested by Paulo at the first bank, offering 10% interest rate, and the compounding period n(1) is 1 or yearly or annually. So you have to use your scientific calculator, not a calculator in your cell phone or not a calculator in the laptop, but I suggest you have to use the scientific calculator. If you have it in your cell phone, look for a scientific calculator and you can plug in the values. Okay, solving for x. X is actually rounded off to 70,000 pesos. And of course, this is the investment of Paulo in the first bank. So the total investment is 100,000 less 70,000. It becomes 30,000 investment in the second bank, offering 8% interest rate compounded semi-annually. We have checking whether it's really true that investing in the first bank with 70,000 pesos and investing in the second bank with a principal amount of 30,000 pesos will give really Paulo 157,143 pesos at the end of 5 years. So we are very sure. So this result to this one and this whole thing here equals 44,407 pesos and 30 centavos plus this value 112,735 pesos and 70 centavos. This will give us the given amount at the end of 5 years. Hence, Paulo invested 70,000 pesos in the first bank and 30,000 pesos in the second bank. Number 4. After 3 years, Michael paid a total amount of 281,540 pesos and 60 centavos for his loan, amounting to 250,000 pesos. Find the amount of interest compounded semi-annually to the nearest percent that was applied to the loan. Solution: the loaned amount was 250,000 pesos. So let's call it the principal amount P and compounded semi-annually. So we have N is 2 and we are to find the rate R percent. And given T equals 3 years. So that is after 3 years. And the amount, the total amount paid by Michael after 3 years is 281,540 pesos and 60 centavos. Now, having known these values given in the problem and we have the unknown, we are to substitute to the given formula. A equals P times open quantity 1 plus R over N raised to NT. So plugging in 250,000, then 1 plus R is unknown, all over 2, Y2. Compounding period is twice a year, semi-annually, raise it to n, which is 2 times 3 years. So we have here the given amount, 281,540 pesos and 60 centavos. This is the total amount paid by Michael with the principal amount he loaned earlier. So after 3 years, he paid this one. So we are to find the interest rate. So following these steps, since this is this expression here is 2 times 3 raised to 6 power, so we have to get the 6th root of this expression, and also this amount paid after 3 years divided by the principal amount 250,000. Then take the 6th root of this, so we're given, or we arrived at this one, 1.01 and 7. Then minus 1 here to get R over 2. We have this one. And finally, we have to isolate R. We multiply both sides here by 2 times 2 here. So R is equal to 0.0324699 and 4, or rounded off to the nearest percent, which is 4%. Hence, Michael applied for a 4% interest rate loan. So long for this video. I hope you like it, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you will be prompted whenever I will be uploading another learning activity videos for you. This is Teacher 𝗪𝗲𝗻 saying always stay happy, healthy, and safe. God bless you.